this week I thought I would do a vlog for general consumption. My vlog usually goes out on my Patreon page for those who support me and 35mmc as patrons through the platform. But I figure why not do a slightly more public one once in a while. So normally I just kind of ramble on about basically everything and anything that comes into my head about what's been going on in the sort of over the course of the previous week. I figure for the more public facing vlogs I might try and be a little bit more considered about what I waffle on about. So I thought I would tell you a little bit about this lens that I've just bought. So a couple of weeks ago I borrowed an Olympus OM2 and a couple of lenses, one of which was 100mm f2.8, little tiny thing, and took a few photos with it. I usually have issue framing with my left eye, which is why I tend to struggle with SLR cameras, because I can't see well enough with my right eye to focus. But with the OM2, which has got an amazing viewfinder, it wasn't too bad. And I think as I was shooting with this 100mm lens, I kind of realised that part of the problem I have when I'm framing with my left eye comes down to framing with wider angle lenses, I think. With the longer lens, it felt easier to frame with my left eye with an SLR. So I had no intention to buy an Olympus, as lovely as it is. I'm a Nikon SLR man. So I thought I would look at getting a 100mm thereabouts lens to kind of see how I get on with a longer lens on my Nikon. At which point I remembered a conversation I'd had on Facebook with a chap called Alex, who I speak to fairly regularly. He's big into his vintage lenses and vintage lens rendering, and he knows that I like Sonnar lenses, and he'd got in touch with me a while ago to tell me that he'd bought the Nikon 105 2.5 Sonnar, the very early version. At which point I proceeded to tell him that there was no such thing, because I thought that the picture he was showing me was of a 50mm lens, and there isn't a 50mm Nikon Sonnar. There is a 105, which I didn't know about actually at the time. There is a 105 Sonnar, so the early version of the 2.5 105 is a Sonnar formula lens. So I remember this conversation and thought, well, I should probably buy one of those. So I found this one on eBay. A chap that had listed it in error as a AIS, which quite clearly isn't. It's actually a quite early serial number, so I think it's late 50s or very early 60s, and is definitely the sort of Sonnar version of it. I made him an offer and he declined, and then he realised I actually didn't notice that it was listed as an AIS. I read it as pre-AI, but he took it down, and then he said he got in touch with me because I bid on it. He got in touch with me to say that he was going to relist it, and I said, look, let me just make you an offer. I offered him 110 quid, I think, including postage or something like that. And anyway, we made a deal. So. And actually the listing for it wasn't that great. It didn't really talk much about condition, but it looked pretty decent. When I got it, I found it is really smooth, really nice focus, really nice clicky aperture, and most importantly, so you won't be able to see this on camera, but the optics are just absolutely spot on. There is hardly a bit of dust in there. So very pleased indeed. So I've only actually taken one photo with it, with the or a couple of photos, but one photo I've put online with this lens attached to the Sony A7S, which came out very nicely indeed. So I'll post a link to that below for you to have a look at. This weekend I'm hoping to find some time to take it out and do a bit more with it. So yeah, it would appear that my penchant for vintage lenses has been given a little bit of a nudge again. So yeah, I shall come back soon, no doubt, on the blog with some sort of five frames post to show you a few more results, hopefully after the weekend. If you'd like to see more of these vlogs, you can either get involved on Patreon, or I guess wait until I do another public one, which I will do eventually, I'm sure. So either way, for now, I'll catch up with you soon. Cheers.